singing all night long. When Paris is singing.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you can take your seat, we'll be so grateful.
When Paris is singing all night long. When Paris is singing all night long.
We will start with our second keynote speaker soon. I would like to introduce him. So if you can get comfortable in the hall, they'll be so grateful.
Back in the days when I was young, for me Paris was just a song. Street lights were shining in my head.
Why don't you come here and see for yourself?
Fashion and beauty everywhere.
Okay, 5 seconds. Distinguished participants, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the hall. We hope you had a fantastic session. We hope that you had a good lunch and your bellies are full. And now it's time to nourish our minds with stories, with experiences, with something where our keynote speaker will be so excited to share with us today. Our second keynote speaker of the day, he flew all the way here from the Philippines, and we are so grateful for that. He chairs the Monyoska Family Office and the Board of Trustee of the award-winning Monyoska Foundation. His name is Mr. Paul Infante Monyoska. As founder of one of the world's leading philanthropic funds based in Europe, his work has evolved into a private sector-led Universal Basic Income Platform, or UBI. Today, Mr. Monyoska will share his keynote address, Singularity and its Impact on Succession and Philanthropy. So, Mr. Monyoska, the floor is yours. Everybody, please give him a warm welcome. Oh, the mic. Yes, it's coming here.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. First of all, I'd like to thank the organizers, Dr. Moha, Dr. Leilani, for inviting me. I haven't been to Malaysia in such a long time, and it's so good to see Malaysia from the time you arrive at KLIA again. I will be speaking to you about a topic close to my heart, which is the topic of singularity, and how that affects succession and philanthropy. Our family office is based in Monte Carlo, Monaco. It has its roots in the central Philippines with our foundation. And as we evolved into a family office structure the past few years, it has been a very, very interesting journey for us. I was based in Singapore for 20 years, and I moved back home, traveling back and forth Monaco for the past, I believe, close to 15 years. Best of both worlds. And I'm very happy that I'm meeting new friends today in Malaysia. And I have been enjoying the food, the nasi lemak and the rendang. Anyway, okay, so I am a Generation 3 Monyoska. I come from a family of doctors. My grandparents are doctors. My father is a doctor. My cousins are doctors. I am the only one which is not a medical doctor. But I do have a doctorate in humanities, which was given to me by a very, very good university in Latin America. That I wanted to thank them. Okay, so you will notice from our family crest, coming from a family which is partly Spanish, we have embraced singularity, which is, sorry, oh, okay. Sorry about that, yeah. Our family crest is something which needs to go along with the times. You can see that it now has the image of two warriors embedded, which is something I think we share very closely with Southeast Asian countries, especially Malaysia, in our history, which I will take up in a little while. Okay, so can we go to the next slide, please? I'd like to keep this presentation quite simple, and a lot of imagery is going to be used to get to the message. The first slide, which is in front of you, on your left, that is the first toy which I had from Santa Claus. Considering that most of us believed in Santa Claus when we were kids, that was my first toy. And I would play with that toy every day since that was given to me. On the right is my new toy. And you can see the stark difference between these two toys. What am I trying to get here? This is where I'd like to start my message to my new friends. On the left is a toy which helps you chart your path. Your creativity is enhanced with this toy. This is a Fisher-Price Village toy. You can play your role. Do you want to be a fireman? Do you want to be a mailman? Do you want to be a policeman? Do you want to be just someone hanging out with a dog on top of that balcony? I enjoy this toy so much because I play different roles every day. I evolved into certain personalities which I would see on TV, and I would play it playing this toy. Bottom line is I chart my path, right? I chart my direction. The image on the right is your MetaQuest 2 headset used for metaverses, whether gaming or digital twin type. And what is this MetaQuest 2? So it brings you into immersive worlds. They call it Web3 technology. And you are able to experience digital infrastructure, digital activity, which you do not control. Okay? Because it will never be that way. Web3 is exciting, but controls humanity. Okay? So the stark contrast with this slide is to show you that in our generation, I'm in my 50s now. I wasn't supposed to say that, but anyway. In our generation, we are about to have a major transition from charting our own path, right, to the new age way of doing business where we need to embrace how we are being controlled and in what manner. Right? And I'm sure that, put aside conspiracies, that's still a realistic statement, right? Yeah. Okay, so second slide, please. These are major events which me personally, I get a major headache because this just happened in 3 years, just the past 3 years. Yeah. On your left is news number 1, where Google created a sentient AI. That means it's alive and it's deciding on certain things. Number 2, let's go with the COVID-19 virus, which shut us down for close to 3 years. Right. Number 3, you have Saudi Arabia now feeling the impacts of the 2050 zero emissions goal. Is now pouring $1 trillion, or at least $1.3 trillion, in a horizontal city which stretches 100 over kilometers through the desert. Dubai cannot say that we think big. This is thinking big, right? Why are they doing it? Because oil revenue is going to move down, going towards the 2050. It doesn't matter whether you have reserves. What matters is there's something signed in the UN which says that by 2050, you better scale down or our ozone layer is going to open up again, and which will be deadly for us. Fourth, the Russia-Ukraine war, which is something I think you'll ask me why in the world does a family office thinks about these things. So I'll tell you why we think about these things very, very clearly. The Russia-Ukraine war is something we don't want to happen. There are good and bad things on both sides as to why it happened. The next one is the drought. Since when do we even think that the Yangtze River in China will lose water? That's totally a nightmare. The Colorado River, which provides water to Las Vegas, California, is dried up also. And you know, all of these things, again, it's in front of us, but we fail to act on it. Because as humans, whatever is painful for us, our mind rejects. Because we just want to think positively always. We cannot take focus our mindset on solving it. It's psychological. And the last one, which is not really on anyone's radar, is the impact of that Psyche 16. Right? So apparently this asteroid, which is being mined, contains 700 quintillion worth of gold. And that's why you know now why SpaceX wants to go to Mars, because that's the nearest asteroid in Mars going towards Jupiter. Okay. So that's not something which is said out in the press. What happens if you access such an asteroid? Do you even think that gold will still be valuable? If you have 700 quintillion of gold, it would crash the gold market, that's full stop. And if it's crashed, what will our currencies be pegged to? Right. So these are, again, just the past 3 years, questions that we want to ask ourselves and we want to know the answers on. In the past 3 years, the craziest thing happened. For the first time in my life, I now have a spiritual advisor. So, you know, I come from a Catholic family. I have cousins who are nuns. And now I have to get a bunch of Christian pastors who are very good friends of mine to tell me about biblical interpretations because I don't go to church. That is really something I want to say openly. You know, I'm a very realistic person. Half of me is a devil's advocate because it's not easy to please me with anything, really. I'm very objective and I'm very careful about how things go. But the biblical interpretations are now a reality, whether we want to believe it or not, because it's better than crystal ball gazing on what's going to happen with all this news. Right? Can you go to the next slide, please? What is the definition of singularity? A singularity, just to give you a snapshot, it is the point where humanity and artificial intelligence converge, and it cannot be stopped. It will converge in such a way that AI overtakes human control. And that is what is happening. Is it scary? Of course it is scary. Because what they are saying, and I still want to distance myself a bit, what they are saying is that one day, our world will be controlled not by a human. Right? Legal, banking, all other industries are affected. Because there is so much investment going into artificial intelligence and making AI what it is today, in moving into what you call super intelligent AI. So there's narrow AI, general AI, and then there's super intelligent AI. So there's so much investment going on to AI, but here's the thing. Tell me who is investing to protect humanity? Every single VC, private equity, hedge fund are all moving into AI. Where the money flows, it will happen. Even in energy. You can talk to me about hydrogen, one talks to me about fusion energy, but wherever the money is going to flow in the biggest way, that's the energy source that will happen. Right? Because they are able to create the downstream infrastructure of that. When you look at certain reports on where singularity will happen, there are some people who say, well, you know, another 60 years, maybe 80 years. It's happening today. It's sad when you see media who are not accountable for their words. Basically, the best grandstanders around. For the sake of career, they would report on something which is not factual, and it does not warn humanity about how we should prepare. Not in the next 25 years, not in the next 50 years, but just even for the next 10 years. And every single business model which comes out of any form of valuations right now needs to be a 100-year blueprint. Gone are the days that you can plan a business in, 10 years, 15 years valuation. And then you see your stock price crash because that's to the extent that you planned your business. Today it's 100 years, 200 years. So it's far more competitive. Can you go to the next slide, please? Why is AI, why do we need to monitor AI? Even leading to ESG planning, ESG blueprints. You don't plan an ESG blueprint if you don't consider what's going to happen in AI. That's totally impossible. Now let me give you a perfect example as to how AI is so important here, not necessarily in a good way, but also in a bad way, and that's why things need to be, I'm trying to put out a message to change mindset. Right? Because if we're not thinking like this, and we continually hear and follow mere justifications of what reality is really all about, that's where I think it's going to create a massive, massive black hole for everyone. History will play a major role in how AI evolves and eventually how ESG can even be planned. Right? And I'll tell you why. Because AI runs on quantum computing, which is the fastest form of processing. People ask me, who is paying for the energy consumed by quantum computing to even protect defense of countries? My answer to that is, what do you think Bitcoin is for? You thought that they came up with the word mining because the ones who invented it wanted to give it to you? This type of cryptocurrency is so, how do you call it? It's so secretive in a way. When you mine a Bitcoin, you lend processing power to whoever issued it within a 16-mile radius. You pay for the power for them to process whoever they are. Even if I knew, I wouldn't be able to say who they are, right? They are able now to process information from every single mobile phone, from every single year since the 1930s when J.P. Morgan was born, right? And people think that cryptocurrencies are being produced just for the sake of creating a currency pegged by data, because the US greenback is not pegged by anything. It goes way beyond that. We are paying, if you buy Bitcoin, if you circulate that, you are paying power for the use of quantum computing. That's what they call mining in their sense. Right? And then from there, you are rewarded. They say, well, thank you very much for helping me process the information I wanted to obtain, and I'm paying you in Bitcoin. So very ingenious. Okay, so that's the real story of Bitcoin. History plays a major role because quantum computing is able to process what happened way back. And since the legal side of things are now being controlled also by AI, it is able to enforce, right? It is able to enforce the correction. Let me give you a perfect example. If a bank steals from their client, where the bank withholds a dormant account, okay? And this is present in all banks. The bank withholds that account as a dormant account and does not give it to the successor. In the next 25 years, AI is able to pinpoint that dormant account based on a claim, right? Based on a truthful claim of the successor, and saying, we never got our money from that bank. The AI is going to take that from the bank, give it to the successor with all interest, and attack the bank. Okay? Welcome to the world of singularity. That's how serious it is. Okay? And a lot of economies were built on lies. How much is true? Really? Do you really think that what we read in the papers are all true? Do you think that what we are told are all true? Which is true, which is false, which is orchestrated? All of these are going to come out. The internet was just a stepping stone, a Pandora's box. It gives a voice to people who don't deserve one, right? Because there's no control. You go to countries who try their best to be accountable with words and actions, and you try to go to countries who don't have any accountability, you can see the big difference. Right? So you are able now to say, well, when I visit this country, everything works. You visit this country, we better get out in 5 days or we get kidnapped. It's that extreme. And so, when you look at the history, it will end up, if you see the last line, we need to avoid at all costs neurocontrol. That is what's happening with Neuralink. Isn't it sad to see humanity evolve where we try to say what is good for us is ESG, funding coming from Asian Development Bank, World Bank, and then you have these things happening at the background. Do you think it's going to work long term if we don't rise up? Right. I remember a very simple question I phrased to one of our senators back in the Philippines. And I said, and the senator is big with shopping malls and everything, and I asked him, why don't you want to automate your car parks? Because his car parks still use people. And his answer was very simple. He said, you want me to take out their job? What will they eat afterwards? I respected him so much after that. You know, I respected him so much because he could well afford anything, but he chose to maintain physical jobs. Last night, I crossed over from this hotel to those eateries in front just to explore. And the eatery on one end, I sat down and had a drink. The one which served me a drink was a robot. This is an eatery. Okay? So I think for those of you who went to the same place, you will be surprised. This is not a restaurant. This is not McDonald's. This is not a classy restaurant. This is just a normal eatery here in Petaling Jaya. It has a robot, and it served me my glass of ice and my drinks. I think I fell off my seat after that. Yeah. Stop telling me Singapore's progressive. You go to Petaling Jaya, they've got a robot for you there. You know. Okay, so, but what I'm saying is these are things that we need to be sensitive about moving forward. Of course, the guy's making more money out of that robot, but anyway. So next slide, please. This is the same message which was given a while ago by the good professor from Sunway University. I wanted to thank you for breaking the ice for this because I'm using the same slide. This is the biggest problem our world has today. The extreme inequality that humanity faces. The world's 1% controls 45 to actually 70%. What makes us think that our world will be at peace? Right. My family office is based in Monaco. Everyone's saying, why don't you just go and play golf every day? And why do you keep on coming back to the Philippines? Because there's nothing going on in Monaco. Unless you just want to show off your car. Right? So, the Philippines has all the problems. So I try to help out. This is something that needs to be eradicated for world peace sake. Right? It's difficult to talk about any other thing when these basic problems are not. I'm not saying it's easy to solve, it's not. Because we follow a financial system which rewards the rich. I think the world thinks that cryptocurrencies and what, NFTs and all of these digital assets are booming right now. It's booming because it's a sign of revolt. Humanity is revolting in the only way they can against governments. Okay? I'm so happy to get to a stage where my business, our family business, is not pegged to any government. We tell governments what to do because it's the only way we can make a difference today. I want you to, my friends, remember that inequality, and I'm not communist. Please don't even think that I'm even socialist. No, I'm not. I am as a philanthrocapitalist as it can get. But I understand that my success only exists if humanity exists. If there is no humanity, then forget the terminologies. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter whether you're chairman of a company or whether you're the busboy. Government policies has to start at grassroots level. It doesn't matter whether the Malaysia government wants to create government policies tomorrow. What matters is if Selangor is going to start it, let's say. Right? Because people can make that difference. Can you go to the next slide, please? As a family office, when you want to talk about sustainability, that's the basic question you have there. How do you build wealth for the future? Now, here it is. It's not as simple as answering. The kind of assets which are recognized today without AI involved and singularity involved. Cash, gold, property, maybe your car, but that's a depreciated cost. So there are certain assets which are recognized today out of government policy and out of monetary policy. Will it be the same for the future? Are these assets still the assets which are recognized? Now I'll tell you why I started asking that question. I'm taking up my residency in Monaco my last 2 years, right? So then I'll become a French resident. Why did I need to do that when I have my national pride from my own country? It's because you cannot fight what you don't control. You can only join them as of today. Gone are the days that you could move $1 million, $500,000 easily through the banking channels and bring it back to the Philippines or bring it back to Southeast Asia to invest. As a family office, you want to move $200,000? Do you know the amount of paperwork these banks ask? They don't ask it from the high rollers in the casino. We've got 4 major resort casinos in Manila right now. They just sign for tens of millions of dollars being gambled every day. But little old me, businessman with $200,000 coming into our corporate account, I have to submit all sorts of papers. So the system is penalizing the entrepreneur. It does not penalize the gambler. So I love the resort casinos, they're really nice, but at the end of the day, it's affecting my people. Same thing as it will affect your people. Okay? So, what type of assets are recognized in the future? Now, that's the question. If you can define it, then you can answer the question, how do I build wealth? Right? Why? It doesn't matter if you have $1 billion in Switzerland. If you can't take the money out to invest, then it stays as $1 billion. And the bank forces you to buy fixed income, of which you can earn far more than that. So how do you build wealth? You don't build wealth. wealth is stagnated with the banks. Right? So in comes digital banking, decentralized banking, yes. Things I did not believe in before. I scratch my head and say, this is so crazy because we just invested in a digital assets bank. Because our consortium, so we have a single family office and a multi-family office. And you come to think of it, I was telling Dr. Mohar this morning that I hope, and we met in Singapore also just a few months ago. I said, I hope the concept of family offices is not a fad. Because you have a lot of, the people in the finance business, they love to repackage stuff. Oh, let's call ourselves angel investors. Oh, let's call ourselves venture capitalists. But they actually don't have money, okay? They're looking for. Oh, let's talk about, let's call ourselves hedge funds. Oh, let's enhance a foundation structure. Oh, why don't we things it earn income? You can because when you're a family office, you're facing my single thing. How is you even can? The structure is totally different. Stand them with what you call asset-backed cryptocurrencies, which are backed by resources. They call it a resource-based economy, which means that at some point, currencies, especially the petrodollar scheme, is now moving down because of the 2050 zero emissions goal. What will move up are digital in nature and is pegged to your country's natural resources. Okay. So these are things which are not said in the news. Right. Anyway, can we go to the next slide, please? I hope you don't mind. I'm just going fast on it. I know you're overloaded today, but I'm sure you'll get my message very soon. So, how did we start as a family office, right? So my family, I grew up in the sugar industry, sugarcane, rice also, so agricultural basket. That's where my family started. I was brought up to look at a ladderized timeline. You go to school, play sports on the side, you'll do really well. And then when you graduate, you get a good job, save money and buy your first car. And then you get your house, then you get married, all the usual stuff, right? Today is far from that. Today has so much risk that it needs to have a change in mindset. When I took over certain things my family was doing, and I was I guess the one who really, because I was the business-minded person in the family. Okay. So people would ask me, only 50 of you were accepted in pre-med. Why didn't you become a doctor like your father? It's just really very simple. I was failing. So it was that simple. If I didn't get out, they'd kick me out. Okay? I worked well on the business side though. Okay? So, I just want to bring you on the left side first. our foundation, this is a case study, okay? This is a case study. And this is how you see the stark contrast on how you make money before and how you make money today. Right? So our foundation supports farmers with seeds. In the 1970s, we had an agrarian reform program. So it didn't matter whether your family owned hundreds of hectares or acres of land. That will all be quashed, right? So that the government, during that time, would give the land to the people so that the people have a stake in the country. That's all good, that's correct. Actually, my family didn't really say much because we knew that that was the right thing to do. The problem is the follow-up after that. You had farmers who started selling us back the land because they gambled the money. They did not have the mindset to be able to let that type of asset evolve. I'm not generalizing in full, but I would say 70% of the total agrarian reform program was that. 30% sort of survived. So when we supported farmers, say, hey, we don't own your land anymore, but we'll support you by giving you seeds to plant. Plant it, and whatever seeds is in excess, give it to more farmers so it can expand. Then, of course, the farmers expanded, and then instead of the farmers just saying, well, we raised the seeds, can we sell it now? We put one or two key components to help the farmers. It was a rewards program, and it was the craziest rewards program because the farmers don't own mobile phones. They have absolutely no technology. You talk about a laptop to them, stop talking about getting a metaverse on them. How? They don't have electricity. They don't have an MSI computer. They don't have a simple Android phone. And that is 70 to 80%, 70% of the population. And the Philippines has 110 million people. Okay, so 70% are below. That is the market. We issued them a card. We just gave them a card with 2 QR codes at the back. Right? And they just bring this card to an appointed office or bank. The QR code on the left gives them access on the metaverse. It's able to go into an offshore financial center inside where they are guided to make a transaction in cryptocurrency. The right QR code accesses their account. Do they know what they're doing? No, they don't. They trust the card. Right? They trust the card. They trust the issuer of the card, which was our family, because they knew we were the ones giving medicine to them. They trust that. So each farmer, when they sell their crop, they get rewarded. For example, if they sell 10,000 pesos of crop, they are rewarded in 10,000 in digital currency for the future. Each time we reach 500,000 farmers, we list the crypto. And we then go out and they then monetize that in small quantities through the years. What am I trying to get at, right? Achieving help for the farmers cannot be done long term if all they make is good for one day. You give them hope by giving that level of technology to them. Right? Will it work in the long term? I don't know, but at least we tried. right? But so far, so good. So far, so good. They now can say the word, yes, we have a forced savings account, but it is in cryptocurrency. Yes, we have a, we do it on a metaverse because the metaverse is a floating jurisdiction. Money being transferred from other countries under a floating jurisdiction structure is not controlled by any government. Not that we're laundering money. No, it's not that. It's just protecting the people. Right. Most of all, we've signed agreements which peg natural resources to the very cryptocurrency we reward our farmers. Therefore, the farmers can now brag, saying that, do you know this land? I partly own it. Right, for the future. Why? Because the crypto I hold, which is a sign of a revolt of the financial system, it gives me hope, right, that I have a stake in my country or in my region. Right? So it is, again, this is just an example of what we do as a family office when we want to move into something. Right? On the right, it summarized as uplift the lives of the people, enable technology to reach the people, prepare the people for more of these CBDCs coming out, prepare the people for the advent of AI, and basically really bridge the gap between rich and poor. Then we can talk about ESG, right, from there. Succession in this sense means the validity of your wealth. If you have $1 billion today, is that recognized 25 years down the road? I don't know. Right? What would be recognized by AI 25 years down the road? Is it still cash? Right? So these are questions that we need to ask ourselves. Philanthropy in this sense means how you create value and not just revenue for the future. So the way AI works in the future is that, let's say you want a tax break, it will process what you did. Right? It will process what you did the past 50 years. And the AI is going to decide whether it should give you a tax break. Okay. Now, people say that's not going to happen. There's a lot of things on those news articles which we thought would never happen. Right? But it's all happening. Can you go to the next slide, please? So I think this is my last slide, but the message is this. All industries are impacted by singularity. All. Even when you walk into McDonald's, a robot serves you. You walk into Marriott Hotel near, in the US, it's all automated already. The mindset for the future for sustainability is, number one, is that we all have to start influencing local or national government to create the necessary policies to protect humanity. There's none. Right? There's none. Succession and philanthropy should be passed on not as value, but as mindset. Right? Because you're competing with AI. And that's reality. If AI is good, well and good. If AI turns bad, what do you think is going to happen? Right? Because it controls everything. History will be revisited again, whether we like it or not. Right? So there will be balances, checks and balances done there, which was not done on the physical realm. And the transition to the digital realm is happening today. Right? So, a parting word, my friends, is that I'm very happy to share with you these few slides, share my thoughts of how we run as a family office. the kind of investments, let's say, we get into. We've gone from wanting to invest in agriculture to transport to food. Now we have decentralized banking, digital banking. We have artificial intelligence. We have online retail. It's a completely different realm, right? So as we move forward, when we talk about sustainability, when we talk about ESG, let us take into consideration the serious impact of singularity in the blueprint. What can happen? Prepare for that in a preventive mindset, in other words. And most of all, it's very important to remember one key thing. Invest in what protects humanity. Do not invest in something which eradicates humanity. Okay. So thank you very much. This is my last slide, right? Can I just confirm? Sorry, okay. Anyway, same message. Is that, that's the last one? Okay, well, it just shows ESG here, and it shows a chart from the UK on AI policies, and it's very messy because everyone doesn't know where to start. There's so many boxes over there, and because all of our companies are based in the UK, so we follow UK law, and they give me this chart. I don't even know which box where to start. At the end of the day, it's policies. It's something that we could do, a first step. And as you attract family offices to your area, to be here, to create the bridges, the relationships, this is also what they're going to be after. Right? Because there's not one party which is able to define the next 50 years. Right? Thank you very much. If there's any questions, I'd be happy to answer it. Thank you.
Mr. Monyoska. And is there any question from the floor? Any question? From online, do you have any question? No question. Okay, so I think that, maybe they want to have a private chat with you down on the floor. Maybe they have more questions when they see you face to face.
Sure.
Yes. Maybe at tea time we can have more conversations. Thank you again. Please give our keynote speaker another round of applause. Oh, sorry. A token of appreciation, Mr. Monyoska. I'm so sorry. Can you please go back on the stage? Yes. We always have tokens of appreciation. And now I would like to invite Haji Yusof bin Muhammad, Chairman of Prima Alam Technology Sdn Bhd, to present a token of appreciation to Mr. Paul Infante Monyoska for becoming our keynote speaker today. Oh, representing, yes. Yes, representing. Okay, all right, sorry. Sorry, representing Haji Yusof bin Muhammad. Thank you again once to the participants and also to our speaker. Distinguished participants, ladies and gentlemen, we have another session. Okay, so I hope your energy is still up. Do you still have your energy with you? Do we need to go and get coffee or something? Or should I do like some warm-up stretching exercises? We can do that, no problem. Some breathing exercises. Okay. So yes, anybody? Well, I think that if you feel tired, the next master class in this hall is definitely the one for you. And in our agenda, we have master classes. Actually, we have 2 master classes, and they will be held concurrently, one in this hall and the other one in the opposite, which is Crystal 1, Bilik Crystal 1. So for master class 1, the title that is on the master class is Enabling Technologies to Improve, Enabling Technologies to Improve Health, Relationships, and Well-being of Family Members and Employees. And the speakers for this masterclass are Dr. Linda Salim and also Miss Mahida Fuad. I will introduce them later, but I would like to also say that for the Masterclass 2 in the room Crystal 1, we have Dr. Geeta Nadarajan of Sunway University and Dr. Eric Balan, CEO of Asia Tech Education Sdn Bhd, and they will be talking about sustainable technology, data utility, and technology adoption. So now we have about 1 or 2 minutes if you would like to move to the next room. Those of you who want to listen to the second masterclass, you can go to the next room, which is just opposite. Oh, okay. Okay. And good news, 2 art pieces has been sold today. So whoever you are, thank you for stretching your pockets. Please, let's sell some more. Parts of the proceeds will go to the yayasan. Mana? Untuk apa ni? Saliza untuk apa? Oh, Saliza sana. Oh, token. Masterclass token?
After masterclass, totally going to give the token.
Oh, yang satu persatu punya token. Okay. Alright. Popular. Yes. Sini. Saya. Tidaklah. It's not masterclass, tak ada sitting punya. Because masterclass kita tak tanya soalan, they will talk one and next person. That's how it works.
Place for romantic love affairs. Even if for me it's just a dream.
The place isn't what it seems.
Paris is singing, I'm just happiness. Before I got there, my life was just a mess. No, I can call Paris my own, living the dream I've always known. Right in the middle of this town.
Don't you wish you could turn around?
When I'm away, it's never long. Before I return to what's my own, I pour some good wine in my glass.
Is your pocket full of cash?
When Paris is singing, I'm just feeling right. Even the rain, the city's shining bright. The sound in the streets is full of jazz. People are dancing as much as they can when you live in such beauty.
Talk to Parisian and you'll see.
Lovers come here from everywhere. Climb to the top of the Eiffel Tower. It is the right place to propose.
But with it lost, no one knows. Paris is singing all night long. When Paris is singing all night long.
Who is here?
Test 1, 2, 3.
When Paris is singing all night long.
Oh, sorry. Let me go back. All right, ladies and gentlemen, our masterclass is going to start soon. So if you would be so kind, can you move to the front a little bit to the front? Maybe fill up the tables at the front. There is this beautiful VIP table. Sit at that table. Why not? Once in a while, we got to feel like VIPs ourselves. You know, once in a while, we got to give ourselves some credit for spending a whole day listening to people speak. Or do you have a special? Okay. So participants, ladies and gentlemen, please, yes, take up the front seat, the front row, fill up the space. We gotta feel good. Our masterclass is starting now. And we have, let me introduce you, Miss Madiha Fuad, founder and CEO of Plus Vibes Malaysia. Ms. Mahida is the founder and CEO of Plus Vibes, a mental health solutions provider that currently serves over 30,000 members and has prevented 800 suicides ideation. In recognition of Plus Vibes' social impact, the company has won awards, startup competitions, and grants. She is the only Malaysian selected to be part of the Young Founders Program 2022, an international fellowship based in Germany. She was recently awarded Women of the Future in ESG UK. So welcome, Ms. Mahida. Our second speaker for our masterclass is Dr. Linda Salim. So I'm sure you'll know who I'm referring to because there's also the picture there. Dr. Linda Salim, Generation 2 of and she is the CEO of PT Delfataro Surya Gunadatta from Indonesia. I'm sorry if I pronounce it.
Close enough.
Close enough.
Yeah, very close.
So, Dr. Linda leads a health tech startup, which she dived into head first as soon as she finished her doctoral journey. The decision to penetrate the healthcare industry came from her experience during her caring for her aging parents, spotting a serious underserved gap in geriatric care. Before founding Daftaro and walking her PhD journey, Dr. Linda was a serial entrepreneur, having founded a property marketing and PR agency companies, both of which she exited to pursue motherhood. Dr. Linda is also a second-generation member of family business in manufacturing, and she remains in the family business board of directors. Welcome, Dr. Linda. Okay. So as this is a masterclass, the moderator, I will not be sitting in front asking questions. We will take it 1% at a time. So we let the ladies decide whoever wants to go first.
Thank you so much for the introductions. Hello everyone, how are you? Today I'm going to stand up, make this a bit more interactive. Today we'll be talking about startups, family businesses, and mental health specifically. How you can take care of your employees' mental health, and that is a trend nowadays, right? Let's go on to the next slide. Okay. So the first thing we're going to talk about is embedding accessible health tech to transform relationships and organization. Commonly, we're looking at, okay, a lot of companies without very, very different. It was difficult, but so far in 2 years, we have supported 30,000 users and we've prevented 800 suicide ideations. Now how? Alhamdulillah, thank you. How? How can we do this? It was a matter of really breaking that stigma, is one. And number two, it's the adoption of technology. in any industry. For us, the focus is mental health. What we did was we took traditional methods and enabled it through accessibility, through mobile applications. Next slide. Next slide. Yes. So, a little bit about myself. I was actually a medical patient before I became a mental health entrepreneur. Before that, I was doing F&B, I did food trucks. So I was an entrepreneur since I was 24 years old. Yes, a decade ago. Now, when I was doing my PhD in business, what happened was I suffered a permanent nerve damage on my back. Permanent, yes. So it led to my wing scapula popping out. Now what happens in that stage? Yes, I received amazing physical treatment, but during that time, what happened was my mental health deteriorated massively. I couldn't go to work, I couldn't support myself, I had to go see a psychiatrist, psychologist, of which 1 hour, 200 ringgit, 300 ringgit, 400 ringgit, and this was for 1 year. Now, to what extent was I able to support myself and also do work and go see a psychologist or psychiatrist or do physio for my back? I couldn't. That's when the business background, my friends supporting, what we thought about, I'm not the only one who has this problem. I'm sure there are other people, although they didn't have that physical illness, maybe they couldn't afford mental health, right? So that's when we thought about how can we get this supply here and provide it to the mass demand, free. I know you're thinking, what? Free, how are you sustainable? I'll share with you. Next slide. So, to what extent is medical history very important? Knowing your track records, physical illnesses. To what extent is mental health, stress history important? Why you left your jobs, why your spouse, relationship, personal relationships, marriage. This history, how is this important and how can we keep this history to then build, transform, and grow? Next slide. To what extent is physical healthcare and mental healthcare at the same par? All companies provide physical healthcare assistance. Do they provide mental healthcare assistance? And how much? And how easy, accessible is it? Will the HR know their problems? So do people use these EAPs? Next slide. And last but not least, raise your hand if you have a smartphone. Everyone has a smartphone, right? In this era? I mean, I'm sure Paul mentioned earlier that some areas do not have a smartphone, but mainly the clients that we're catering to, they have that smartphone. Now, how is this important? It's actually the data. Next slide. Factors influencing health tech, medical history, accessibility, and also the smartphone, the ability to connect to people through your smartphone, to keep those records, to consult a doctor easily. And how can you help your employees reach out for help? It's through their smartphones. Why? Because another very, very important factor, anonymity. Being anonymous when you reach out for help increases the likelihood of someone to actually share their problems. Next slide. And that's how Plus5's focuses on transforming relationships and organizations through data. And there are many ways you can do this. But first, it's having that data, knowing what is the problem and how we can solve this problem through the data. For example, one of our clients, it's a bank, MNC, so they have presence across Southeast Asia. What they wanted to know is, why is my employee underperforming? Why is my turnover so high? When we launch this app, what happens is, users will press, okay, I need to talk to someone, I'm stressed. Before that, there's only 3 questions that they answer. How do you feel? Demotivated, loneliness, helpless, all these kind of things, so they click. What is the reason? Family, workplace, relationship, studies if they're doing extra studies, is it financial issues? And last, do you have suicide ideations? Do you have self-harm tendencies? 3 questions. From that, that's the data we collect. Then, when they chat with our psychologists, our counselors, our therapists, we'll match the data. Was this person really suicidal? Did they have self-harm tendencies? How can we help them? At the same time, we are providing this data to the company without telling them who it is, so that we can really help them, but at the same time, not reveal and still allow them to keep their job, because mental stress, everyone experiences mental stress, but when it develops into mental illness, it's because of the progression. 1 month uncatered to, 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, that's when you lead to depression and anxiety. Next slide, next month. So, when you look at EAP in your family businesses, in any organization, yes, providing EAP is very important, but the first thing that you do is you provide that support. You provide employees that access to reach out to medical professionals, to reach out to anyone who they need help with. But then, it's also about that data. So, providing these workshops without knowing what is the problem of your employees. How can we stop that, right? From this data is when you can actually transform, fix things, and that's what we do. And that's the importance in any EAP. So I'd like you guys to analyze your current EAP. To what extent do you really know what your employees are going through? Next slide. Now, what are the benefits of digital health for providers? We'll talk about patients in a bit, or employees in a bit, but for providers, number one, it's focusing on prevention. When you can identify that these employees are already at this critical stage, you can prevent them from becoming into a more critical stage. It facilitates communications. So you get this access to data, you know what your employees are going through. It promotes patients' independence, so patients can easily reach out to health cares, to physical health cares, mental health cares, without having to go through HR, because HR has a lot more other things that they need to do. One thing that we got a feedback was that HR was saying, people are coming to me with their physical illnesses, their mental health issues, but I don't know how to help them. My focus is employee engagement and team building. I'm not a psychologist, or I'm not a medical doctor. So this data, this access of easing technology, of implementing this in the organization, is what actually allows organizations to prevent critical cases. Next slide. Now, patients. Why would patients want to do it? So we do have some of the employees thinking, oh, I'm not sure. I don't know how to use these apps. I don't know how to use these softwares. What do I do? That's where making it so accessible, making a user-friendly mobile application is very important. And that's why there's only 3 questions before you straight away get to talk to a psychologist. It's not about you need to book. You need to wait 2-3 days until they're available. You need to wait maybe in government because there's a high waiting list. You need to wait 1 month in a government hospital. It's preventing these kind of things, is making it not accessible for employees. And so for patients, it increases accessibility. It protects the patient's privacy. You can chat, and after 24 hours, you end the conversation, it's deleted. You don't back up any of these. What we did collect was your answers before, not your conversations. And from here is when Paul was talking about trust. We're building employees' trust for them to really share what is going on, because we cannot help them if they don't truly share what they're struggling with. Then it's also minimizing costs. Imagine one employee going to a psychologist, therapist, not knowing if they're really mentally ill or is it mental stress. 200 ringgit an hour. 20 employees, 4,000 ringgit an hour. 4,000 ringgit for 20 sessions. To what extent can you provide mental health care support to all your employees if you have 2,000? I think we did some data collection that it was around 80,000 if all 2,000 employees wanted mental health support, or just to talk to someone without knowing if they really need to talk to someone or if they're simply mental stress. So what we do is provide that on-demand chat service, and then we identify, is this a critical case? Are they going through trauma? Are they going through abuse? Do they need professional help? Next slide. So, mental health, 2 types here. When organizations, what's important is not the fact that it's mental illness. For us, it's about that mental stress. Now, we did some data here. The number one, unfortunately, the number one reason why employees are stressed, it's not really their personal problems. Yes, they do have personal problems, but the number one why employees leave organizations is because of their managers and their bosses. Now, why? How can we prevent this? Again, that data, by having that anonymous surveys where employees can share. My concern is actually me working, my manager's asking me for work at 9 p.m. The more we have this awareness, the more we can identify why, that's when we can prevent. Why? Because it's just a matter of not having enough data to prevent these kind of issues. Then we're talking about mental illnesses. To what extent does it lead to mental illnesses? 6 months. Depression is categorized as is being depression after you've had prolonged sadness, 6 months duration. Why? Because that point, you've already had a lot of intrusive thoughts, negative thinking, and you need some kind of support or comfort to get you out of that cycle. Next slide. Now I'm gonna ask you guys, to what extent, how is your mental health? How are you feeling? And again, anonymity is our priority, that's our company value. So when you scan this, you can truly tell me how you feel. Instead of thinking like, okay, yeah, I'm doing great, but actually, not so. So we're gonna do a little short survey here. Let me know how you truly feel.
I'm going to go
Yes,
across.
Linda. Now let me know how you truly feel. And what we're gonna do now is gonna ask your help to click results. Yes. Okay, can click results. No, you cannot see the results. No worries, I'll share the results in a bit. Later on we can open it. Can? No. You just straight away, yes. Can? Cannot? Yes. So let me know how you truly feel. No worries, we can share the results at the end and continue the slide. All right, so then what I wanted to see was if any of you actually said, no, actually I'm not doing okay. Why? Because when the anonymity factor is there, when you are anonymous, you can really share what you're feeling. Whether you're going through a really personal problem, whether you're feeling okay, whether you're really angry or upset, this anonymity issue. So now we've seen that in 2019, there were 86 mental health cases. Now, there are 251. And what recently KJ said was that 10 million Malaysians are going through depression and anxiety. 10 million. That's 1/3 of this country. And imagine, when these younger generation, who are seen to have a lot of suicidal tendencies, 900 already in the past 2 years. Those between 17 and 18 committed suicide. Imagine when they go into your workforce, the future workforce, 5, 10 years. To what extent can they handle the pressure? To what extent will the divorce rate increase? It's already 70,000 divorce cases in 2 years. And this is expected to increase even more. Why? Because people cannot access mental health support. Next slide. So then we talk about life, right? It's challenging. But when you have that support, when you have that support system, when you have accessibility, when it's free, then you are willing to reach out for help. Next slide. And then we talk about the number of employees. 100 employees. 75 and 100 employees require support of mental wellness. 24 of them need counseling. And at least 1 in 100, now you can multiply in your organization, 1 in 100 require critical mental health support. And this data is alarming because imagine if that duplicates, right? Next slide. So we talk about the implementation of mobile applications. And I'm going to share with you a little bit more about Plus Vibes. What is Plus Vibes? What do we do? We're a mental health mobile application. Next slide. And it looks like this, where we provide on-demand support. Now, within 2 minutes, you can get connected to a psychologist, psychiatrist, and this is a surprising part that I'm going to tell you, for free. When just now we were talking about 1 hour, 200, 300, 400 ringgit, right? Today I'm telling you that this app will allow your employees, will allow the public, will allow people as young as 12 years old. And yes, we do have users as young as 12 years old to connect and chat for free. We've created this ecosystem where we have volunteers, where we have part-timers who are willing to provide these assistance. But then we also do have that in-app purchases, where if they need critical or trauma or abusive support, that's when they can reach out to the app as well. Next slide. So this is so far in 2 years, 800 suicide preventions. We're partnering with universities right now. I think yesterday we went to Penang. We got the government support, Penang state government support to launch this app in Penang for schools, universities, for the general public. Why? Because of the high suicide cases in Penang. And surprisingly, Johor is another one. So actually the number 1 suicide cases in Malaysia in all states is Johor. 49 cases in last year. And then it's Selangor. And then KL. And then Sarawak. We just launched a partnership with Unimas in Sarawak. And the next is Penang. However, what we see in the news is always Penang. But actually there are suicide cases in other states as well. Next slide. So what we do, on demand, non-intrusive because it's anonymous, and of course affordable. To some extent it's free for them to ask, am I mentally ill, or am I just mentally stressed? Do I just need a support system to comfort me? Next slide. And of course, these are the feedback that we've gotten. That there's no one else I could rely on. You saved a soul tonight. We have 20 suicide ideations every single week. And this is alarming because how do we actually mitigate? And imagine if we were to onboard. Now we have 30,000 users. Imagine if we had 100,000. To what extent are people willing to open up and tell us that they are suicidal? Next slide. So this is what it looks like. On-demand chat support. You click one button, it takes you to 3 questions, and then we'll give you that data, we'll give you that support. Next slide. We've got the emotional intelligence modules. We've got different modules where people can learn. It's about self-awareness. It's about allowing people to learn more about themselves. Next slide. It's about having a bird's eye view. It's about self-awareness. So for example, this wheel of life. How's your love life? How's your family, social, health, career? Monitoring. Next slide. An overview of your mood and sleep. So for example, how are you feeling? Happy, sad, and from here we can send you customized notifications. Hey, we saw that you've been feeling sad. Why don't you cheer up? Here's an article. Here's something you can read. Next slide. And last but not least, it's this content. To what extent do you go to Google and search for motivational videos, or YouTube, or search for relaxation activities? From these notifications, we will feed you this. So then you'll be like, oh, actually this resonates with me. I'm going to click it. I'm going to read it. It's about indirectly, subconsciously allowing and feeding information about mental health, about motivation to the users. Next slide. And we'll also send you, okay, good night, sweet dreams. Why don't you learn about how we can improve sleep better? How about trying a breathing exercise, meditation, small things that a person will not look for. So it has to be fed to them. Next slide. That's why. So I'd like to invite you guys to try out the app. Yes, it is free for the public. How we are sustainable is because we provide the data to corporate companies, to state governments, and that's how we balance that. So whether you want support, free. But if you want the data to know what is going on and to mitigate and prevent, that is how we are sustainable. Thank you. Over to you, Linda.
All right. Yeah. Great presentation. I almost forgotten why I'm here. I thought I was one of the audience. So anyway, I'm also a health tech founder and CEO, but today I'm not going to talk about that. Today, I'm going to work with Maddie, and I am going to talk about rest. When I was told that I have 20 minutes to speak up here, I was just like, 20 minutes is about the most effective time that you can do for power nap, because longer than that, it will interrupt with your sleep cycle at night. So I thought, I can have everybody become comfortable and take a nap. I'll see you in 19 minutes. But I do not fly all the way from Indonesia for that, okay? So today I'm going to talk about rest. A few months ago, there's a doctor called Dr. Sondra August Smith, if I'm not mistaken. She was doing a TED Talk, and there's a book that she launched called Sacred Rest. And she was naming 7 different types of rest. So I see today where I see a lot of next gen, I see a lot of family businesses and very accomplished professionals here. So I want to talk about how important rest is and everything. I'm not going to talk about all those 7 different types of rest, but I am going to tell you a story. I have a 12-year-old, and we are very close. So a lot of times we are talking about the difference between the time when he grows up and the time when I grew up in the 80s. So like Maddie said, like 49 suicide case in a month. And I also see the same thing too. I'm like talking about Malaysia, you guys are more, you guys are faster paced and everything, but I'm from Surabaya. A few weeks ago, I spoke to a colleague in Singapore, and he said, yeah, Surabaya is like Jakarta, but people who wants to relax, who want to slow down, they would live in Surabaya. But yet, time and time again, just like the past 3 months, we saw people committing suicide under the bridge, on the freeway, at the mall, and everywhere. I was like, what kind of phenomenon is this? And then suddenly, as we tried to embark back and come out of the pandemic in full force, I just realized that I was talking to my son when I was growing up. We are doing activities as a corporate. We are doing organized activities. We never said we rest when. Because everybody, in the morning, everybody goes to school, and our fathers went to work. In the 80s, a lot of our mothers stay at home, right? And that's when she has like the peace and the quietness of the house, where she would be preparing for our meals and cleanup. She has her peace of mind. We have our peace of mind at school, and fathers have peace and quiet at work. And as soon as dinner time, everybody is clean, everybody is showered, freshed, and everybody sit down at the dinner table and eat dinner together. And hey, how's your time? How's school? How's work? How's cooking today and everything? And then after that, the malls, the stores, they close at 9. When I grew up in Surabaya, there's only one TV channel. So at school, when somebody says, hey, did you watch TV at 7:30 last night? Everybody knows what they're talking about, because there's no options. There's no YouTube. There's no Amazon Prime or whatever, you know? And the TV station stops broadcasting at midnight. So what do you do after that? We sleep. We rest, so to speak. This day and age, we do not have to rest. With this, at any given time of the day, somebody is awake, somebody is at work. We have Shopee, we have Amazon, we have eBay shopping 24 hours a day. Streaming 24 hours a day, gaming 24 hours a day, working 24 hours a day, right? I just realized when the pandemic came in, my son was like, "Mom, you're never home." And that was 10 p.m. I realized that, no, the pandemic actually made me busier because I don't have to deal with traffic. I usually deal with traffic 2-3 hours a day, and I no longer have to do that. What do? I work, you know? And in between meetings, I don't have to commute. What do? I work, you know? So when do you rest? Actually, never, you know? And talking about my background, I came from motherhood, giving birth to my PhD, to founding my startup. So I'm not sure if I'm the right person to talk about rest. But at the same time, like me here, like 10 over years later, still maintaining my sanity, so to speak, there's got to be something that I have done that not a lot of us are doing, and that is rest. A lot of times we're saying that everybody is a walking zombie, everybody is tired. And to me, rest is easy. There can be the 7 different types of rest. I know that some other researchers are also talking about like 5 different types of rest. And in Indonesia, we're big on healing, you know. But to me, like, rest is one thing. I can't remember who said it, but somebody said something very simple but profound, that the world will not come to an end when you rest. And that's what we need to remember. I mean, like, with 24 hours of everything, in the past, when we all grew up, we didn't need that kind of discipline, because when it's dinner time, we stop working, we stop cleaning up, we stop studying. When the stores close, we go home, we sleep. When the TV stops broadcasting, we sleep. We have no choice. But these days, we gotta actually make an awareness, make it intentional to say like, well, I'm going to rest. What does your rest look like? It would be different for everybody. For example, I'm very competitive. And when I rest, what I do is I run. I train for Rinjani 100, which is like 100 plus kilometers over 36 hours. It's very grueling. But that's my kind of rest, you know? Like, running is my sanctuary. And people are like, you're crazy, you know? There's like these YouTube and things to do. But that's me. That's my drive. My son, too, he's very competitive. He's a Fortnite player, and he's doing Fortnite competitively. He's 12, so when he turns 13 in Fortnite, you can start earning money from the game, and he's ready for it. He's like all over there, so by the time he's having his 13th birthday, he will start earning money. But that's not for everybody. If your rest is doing nothing, then do nothing. I think rest is just one thing, doing something that you don't do every day. Doing something without a goal, without thinking about productivity, without thinking about wasting time and things, because at the end of the day, I'm pretty sure what we did 20, 30 years ago, that we rest at night, that's the grand design of humanity. So because we have this device now that we have to make it an awareness that when you start thinking about a lot of negative things, Maddie was talking about it, it's a reminder to rest. I found a funny meme the other day, but it's so spot on. It says that every single thing on earth will work again if you turn it off for a while, yourself included. So that's it for me.
Thank you so much to both Ms. Madiha and Dr. Linda. We still have a lot of time, and I think this is a great opportunity for questions and to hear more stories from them. The results from the poll came out.
I think we also have some exercises, some little exercises from us to do as well.
Shall we share that?
Let's see to what extent everyone's feeling okay, not okay. Okay, only 3 people are feeling excellent. Only 3, and the rest? Let me see, let's see. Only 3 people. The rest is, I'm okay. 1 is doing terrible, and not doing okay is 4. Now, I'm okay. What does that say? I'm okay. Meaning sometimes there are good days, most times there are bad days. You have good days, but then you're also thinking about your bad days, right? Because you're okay, Jill, right? So why? Now, what we also, if we have time, what we can do is this other anonymous poll where we can select why you guys are feeling not okay, right? Because if I ask you, why are you not feeling okay now? Will anyone actually answer?
Don't think so.
Does
Yeah.
anyone want to answer? Why not okay? Personal or work? Personal problems or work problems?
I think part of the thing too is that in our society, in Asia, we are trained, we are taught to say that I'm okay, so we don't trouble others. So it's kind of like, unless we're really feeling terrible, we're going to be okay.
But then we look at rest. To what extent do you need that rest? You're okay perhaps because you're tired, perhaps because you have something on the back of your mind that you need to do. So that rest plays a very big important role.
And learning to say no, which I'm going to exercise with you after this.
So what do you think? Let's do the exercise?
Yes, sure. Before we do the exercise, there's a preview or disclaimer, so to speak. There's a professor in LinkedIn, Juliana Chan. She said, and there's another professor in Harvard who's doing the same thing. And she said, remember, she was talking about women leader, and she said, remember that when you say no, you don't have to feel guilty because you're saying yes to something else. Well, our life is kind of like a weight scale. These days, we're used to having digital scales, so it's not relevant anymore. But if you remember, in the old days, if you go to the market, weight scale is just like basically 2 different trays that's trying to balance each other, right? So we have those weight measure with 100 grams, a kilo, and everything, and then we put a watermelon on one side, and we're trying to put the weight measurement on the other side until everything is balanced, right? So saying no is like that. When we say no to something, it's not a lot of times us Asians, and especially us women, right? We are trained to be helpful. And to be honest, I want to be helpful. I want to help other people, But by doing that, a lot of times, I'm saying yes to a lot of things, and it's not balanced. And pretty soon, it's going to topple over, and it's no longer okay. I'm terrible, right? And I don't know why I am terrible, And even for us Asians too, we want to be helpful. We like to be helpful. But we don't remember that by saying yes, we are saying no to other people. Everybody has 24 hours a day. So today, I'd like to exercise with all of you, myself included. I need to practice to say no without feeling guilty, without thinking that about what the asking party is thinking about with our rejection, and without making excuses. Sometimes simple no is fine. Like a lot of times when we are being asked for a request, hey, you know what? I just went to a doctor and it turned out that I need a kidney transplant. Can you give me one of your kidney, And I was like, No, because I already gave my sister my other kidney, and then we're all in trouble, you know. I think simply, especially because a lot of us are also in Asian business, in family business, it's hard to say no to our parents, you know. Forget grandparents first. It's hard enough to say, no, Mom, I'm not working today. That's it, you know. So let's practice to say no without being rude. Of course, we gotta be nice, without giving excuses, without making a lie, without feeling guilty about it. Because when we're saying no to someone, including our parents, including sometimes our responsibilities, we are saying yes to mental health, right? So let's see. Okay. Can we get into a group of either 2 or 3? Yeah, like some of you who are in a table of 2, then you're fine, just work with each other. You'll be my partner. Person A, one of you, can you please raise your hands, like people A? Okay. So if it's like a group of 2, you'll be A and B. If you're a group of 3, then it will be complete A, B, C. Would you like to be A or B?
B.
Okay.
Because I don't know what comes with A, so I don't want to be the first person.
Okay, I'll be A. Okay, people A, your job is to come up with the most ridiculous request. Yeah, just come up with the most ridiculous request that imagine you're in a family business, like, or you're saying no, your other party is your boss or something. Ask something really, really ridiculous. Okay, that's your job, people A. Now people B would be Maddie. Okay, people B, your job will be to practice saying no. Saying no nicely, briefly, without feeling guilty. Look people A straight in the eyes and say, no, I'm not going to give you my kidney. Now, what does people C do? What do you do? Your job, if you have a group of 3, people C, your job is to tell people B how well they're doing in saying no. Yeah.
So you are the comforter. Good job. That was the right move.
Yes, yeah,
You
yeah.
support the decision.
Yeah, it's like how nervous, how awkward, how confident people B will be was in saying no. And we're going to do this for, can we have like 3 minutes to do this? Okay, if you're done, after you're done, well, I guess if you don't have people C in your team, then people A can tell people B, oh, you're lousy at saying no. I'm still going to take your kidney, you know? So after you're done about it, with that, you can exchange rules and practice again.
Linda,
All
I'm gonna
right.
add on one more thing to that.
Sure.
For the person who's going to say no, what you also need to identify is why you're saying no. So for example, imagine if you have 10 batteries. Your whole body has 10 batteries. You're saying no because you probably only have 2 or 3 batteries of energy left. If you're probably at 9 or 10, you still have high energy, I'm pretty sure people will be, yes, I can help you. Why? Because I have a lot of energy. But the reason why you should say no is usually at the end of the week when you're already drained, when you already have so many things to do and you've already done it and you need your me time. So imagine, reflect, how many batteries do you have left? Be like, no, I only have XX number of battery left. Maybe it's 1, 2, maybe it's 4, but maybe anything less than 5, that's when you need your me time. If not, that's when you get burnt out, demotivated, stressed, because actually you might like your job, but it's only when you have only a few batteries left and people are still asking things from you. That's when you learn how to say no, right?
Usually in a family business, that's about like 2 p.m. in a Saturday afternoon when your dad calls you to his office and you're about to fly to Bali with your friends.
Okay. Give
Shall
me
we?
a situation. What is the situation?
Let's see. I already asked for a kidney, so I can't do that again. I need to go to Tibet for 2 weeks. Would you mind taking care of my 300 cats, please?
300?
Yes, probably 305 because somebody just gave birth. Don't worry, they're no trouble at all. You'll barely feel that they're there. You'll barely notice them.
Just wanted to ask, you know, I really have a lot on my plate right now. I mean, I think you gave me this a few days ago. It'll be very difficult for me to complete it, unless, of course, you want me to take care of your cats and leave the work. I can absolutely do that. What do you think?
Well, Maddie, please, it's only going to be over a few weeks.
I know, but you see, unless, of course, so this part is the negotiation part, right? So it's a matter of me stating, I already have this that you gave me to do. You want to add on this some more? 300 cats. Okay. But I understand, but unless I can delegate these tasks to someone else, I'd be more than happy to take on your 300 cats, even though I have no experience.
How about this? I have a few days before I fly out. I will recruit some people to work with you in taking care of 305 cats, probably 310 by the time I come back. So at the end of the day, you probably have 60. You're good with 60 cats?
Yes, I'm okay with that. Why? As long as you have someone else who can also support me, not leaving me alone to do all of it.
Thank you. You're so sweet. I can't imagine like 300 cats.
I'm like, what? But I guess everything is negotiation. Communicate what you already have, your commitments, what you can accept, and what you definitely cannot accept. But sometimes people just keep on taking on.
Yeah.
Taking on. I'll do it.
I think the other thing too is that sometimes we're good at saying no to others. We're good at negotiating with others, but we are so hard on on ourselves, and we barely say no to ourselves. It's like, oh, I really need to go on their trip to Bali. I really need to go have coffee with those friends. It's like, nope, you are so irresponsible. You have like tons of work. You got deadlines, you got a child to take care of, you got this and that, and so that we are like, keep putting pressure and piles on top of ourselves, you know. So sometimes our problems are not with others, but with ourselves too.
Does anyone want to volunteer? We might have person A, B, and C. The C is the supporter. Anyone want to volunteer?
Or we can be C's too.
Okay, we're going to pick on someone. Let's go down.
Oh, good idea.
And the easiest is probably table right over here. All right, who's person A just now? Person
okay.
A. What is the complex situation?
I have not yet think of any.
Are you person B?
There you go. Give me a minute or two.
Can. So that complex situation can be related to work?
Yeah. Can be anything.
So imagine your boss, for example, you are now the boss. You're the employee that is going to like Tai Chi the work away. A lot of pressure now, huh?
No pressure.
Now they have to learn to say no to us.
But I'm already in this conference. I already came to learn.
So I can't say no in this situation.
You can negotiate your way out of it.
You can take care of my 68 cats.
Maybe work related. Actually 10.
Wow.
We'll need to ask him some advice. What kind of situation?
Next group first. Okay, now I can pass you the mic because you'll have to respond to him.
And I have to say no
Yes.
in a nice way. Okay, in a nice way.
camp, our kickstart is coming and we need to handle a lot of trainings now. So to be now, my mother-in-law is coming. I really can't focus in my job now, so I need you to do it. Can you do it for me? Like everything, all the courses that we set together for our 300 Kausarians. So can you plan it out?
Oh, I think
Next week.
next week. Oh, you've been working on it for quite some time, right? Preparing for it.
Yeah, we do it already, but unfortunately this week I'm really tired, I cannot do it.
Oh, that's kind of interesting. Since next week also I'll be going out station. Oh, unless
Can you postpone your thing or what? Please.
that has been scheduled for 3 months. Let me think. Unless I have to reschedule again and have to find another dates for it. Since you've been working on the modules, you know more about the modules than me, and we have about less than a week to prepare for it. I think it's a bit difficult for the audience to capture the message as better than you. You know, I mean, like if I deliver it, you might not be able to deliver the content effectively compared to you, since you have more creative ideas. What do you think about it?
I'm kind of person who I will do it myself all the way. I will be only asking for help when I need to, and this is that moment where I really can't do it.
And you always find ways of how to make things happen, isn't it? Yeah, that's very interesting. Let me think. Do they all know about you're not going to be conducting the session? I think that would be upsetting them.
So I alright.
That was really good. Until he was left, I don't know what else to say. Okay, let's do it. What he did was, he didn't even negotiate. He convinced him. He convinced him, no, it's better if you do it. That's another way you can get out of it, by saying no nicely. Convincing the other person that they're better. You can do it.
Yes, yeah. He got out of it.
Good job. But I'm pretty sure that because he's a battery 10, he'll probably take on, okay lah, you can do it lah. But just this case, that's why it was so hard. How am I supposed to say no?
Yeah.
Right? But yes. So key takeaway here is basically check your battery levels. If your battery level is already that low, learn to say no, either negotiating, convincing that person can do it better than you, a lot of ways, but just self-reflect. Right?
Whatever works. But yeah, I mean, like, we're not here to say that you always have to say no. You know, if you're battery 10, well, do it. Because, like, doing it for other people makes us happy, too. It recharges us, too.
More experience, the better. Yep, that's about it, right?
Right.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Any questions?
Around. Is there any questions? Okay. Everybody's probably thinking about like how to say
Yes, we
no
have one
now.
question.
Just about the app that Dr. Maria shares just now, who will be responding whenever we shoot a question or highlight a situation? And either AI or human touch, is there? Just curious to know.
So when dealing with humans, the best is for a human to respond. So for us, yes, all 200, now I think close to 300, we call them vibers, someone who shares their vibe with you. Why? To break that mental health stigma. We don't want to call them therapists, even though the background, psychology, counseling, hypnotherapists, all 200 of these. So they go through interview sessions, right? So once you have that educational background, interview session, training, and then you can do chat therapy, right? Because face-to-face is easy for you to see someone feeling sorry for you. Chat, it's a bit more difficult. So only those who are, I would say, past the training session is the one who's going to respond. Yeah. How do we reach out?
When like somebody just downloaded the app
Yeah.
and then highlighted the situation and you assess if this one is critical
Critical.
case. And how do you guys reach out to maybe the families or how? How?
Good question. So number one, anonymity is our priority because we do have, I think, a lot of people, and I would say normal students, employees, bosses, CEOs, of which their identity is they want to be anonymous. They have stress, they're going through personal relationships, they're going through a lot of, it's unbelievable to see the kind of stress, right? But then how do we reach out to them? No, we send notifications. How are you feeling today? Are you feeling stressed? Once you record your mood, hey, we noticed you've been feeling sad lately. Come chat with us. The moment they chat with us, and then we detect, okay, this person already says suicidal. Okay, for example, I think sadly today we see a lot of divorce cases, and this creates a lot of pressure. So from that divorce case, we already identified this person has this case. We keep in touch with them. For example, now they want to chat. They got connected. Maybe in a day or two, hey, how are you feeling? Are you okay? Do you need any kind of support? So subconsciously, you know there's someone you can talk to. The same person. Unless, of course, you feel uncomfortable, okay, I don't want to chat with this person anymore. End the chat, you can request a new person. There's over 300 because there's not one person who can fit all, right? And then you can't actually have that personal touch if it's AI. So we do have accent dialects, so people from Kedah, from Penang, from Kelantan, you see? Because it makes them feel more comfortable. It's a safe space. I think that's a priority.
So how do you get the business sustainable? Is it through
Corporates.
sharing models?
Corporates. So from corporate companies. So
Sponsoring as the, or
corporate onboarding. So for example, we have public, right? We provide free to some extent, so at least they can try to talk. Corporates, what happens is, oh, okay, I want to onboard. So recently we onboard a steel company. So what happens is they want to provide for the employees. They're not purchasing for the services. They are purchasing the data and the workshops to understand, oh, this is the problem that my employees, that's why it's very, very affordable. So now employers have no other limitations. Usually it's because I cannot afford. How to afford? One of my employees, 200 ringgit an hour, right? Yeah. Yes, 400. Yes, yes, yes.
Do you engage third party to create the app, to develop the app for you? And
I mean, we have our partners, it's all in-house. Everything is in-house.
okay.
We have 4 developers.
So monetizing is only through the corporates then?
Correct.
How do you price?
Are you going to be surprised when I say it's as low as 2 ringgit per month, per employee? As low as that. Why? We're not charging for the services. I know you're like, what? Yeah. We are sustainable in that way. And as we grow, we can provide that data. And now we're partnering with Penang State Government. So why? Because Penang State Government isn't providing the services. We already have that free service. Now, it's the data that they want. They want to know why. They want to know how they can prevent. They want to know if it's right to do a workshop in this area about relationship, but how the reason is financial. It's about knowing this data. I think you had a question?
It's really such a blessing to have you here. Honestly, thank you very much. I have a question about my son. He is a lawyer, 26 years old. He suffered from anxiety. And about 3 weeks ago, he resigned from where he's working now. He refused to talk, refused to eat, cry most of the time. And it breaks our heart, honestly. I've been searching high and low, actually, for solutions, honestly. But I couldn't find any. So being here in the session and having you, your sharings about this plus vibes is really, so I feel so grateful, you know. So how to go about? With my son refused to talk and refused to see any psychiatrists or doctors, and he's actually depending on medications. I'm just feeling so helpless, honestly. Thank you.
Thank you so much for sharing, because I'm sure there are a lot of people here also facing the same thing. One of our users took him 1 year on the app to feel not suicidal anymore. When he came up on the app, so this guy was a consultant. I think his age was around 28 or so. He was a consultant, big firm companies, as you can know, high pressure, right? He wanted to resign. He felt this stress. But the problem why they don't want to share is because they don't want to worry. They don't want you to worry, and for example, if he says, oh, I'm stressed about work, to what extent can we help him, right? What helped this person was by talking. Having someone you can always talk to. And the fact that it's anonymous, the fact that it's 24/7, no booking, and it's a Viber, not a psychiatrist. See how we label it? We label it as, this app is for positive vibes. This app is for motivation. This app is helping you to become a better person. Not mental illness, depression, anxiety. We try to steer away from that. And that's why we say, okay, vibers share their vibes with you. And if you want someone to talk to them in a non-intrusive place, chatting. Why? Because it makes it easier for you to share your problems. So maybe try, ask him. This app is not a mental health app. Even if he Googles, it's more of something where, oh, you can learn a lot of things. You can talk to someone 24/7. That's usually the catch. The catch is, when I went through my permanent nerve damage, what I needed help was now. And sometimes, at one point, he will feel sad he needs to talk to someone now. Then he'll think about it. Hey, there's this app. Okay lah, I'll try. The moment you try, and it feels good letting out your problems, trust me, all it takes is just one time for him to try. We do have couples, marriage, where the wife is on the app, and he's like, I don't know, but I can't communicate with my husband. She asked the husband to go on the app. And what happened was, it became something positive. Why? Because they were able to understand each other better. They got that kind of self-awareness. So trust me, talking does wonders. But if he doesn't want to talk, it's because he doesn't want to burden you. He doesn't want you to worry. He doesn't know if by sharing whether you can help, but actually he just needs to talk to someone. So maybe try. Yeah.
Thank you so much to our two speakers of our masterclass. Thank you. It was amazing. I don't know what happened in Crystal Room 1, but we had role play here. We were broken into groups and we had activities. Thank you so much, Ms. Mazdia. Sit first? Yeah. So the participants from the other room, Crystal Room 1, has also joined us in our main hall here. And we'd like to thank 4 of the speakers of the master classes for sharing their knowledge and also, giving us invaluable lessons and insights into the theme of today. So with that, we would like to call Puan Yasmin Yusof, Generation 2 of Prima Alam Technology, Sdn Bhd, to come to the stage to give the token of appreciation to. Firstly, to give a token of appreciation to Ms. Mahida Fuad, our masterclass speaker, and also to Dr. Linda Salim.
But let's not push him yet, because it can get really overwhelming if you suggest too many things. So just give it to him.
You want to go this way? Okay. Ms. Mahida, maybe you can just wait a little bit at the side. Yeah.
I don't want to take him to see psychiatrist because he would think that, Mama,
Thank you. So let's have a group photo together with our lovely ladies. Thank you. Thank you so much once again. Thank you. And for our masterclass number 2, the title is Sustainable Technology, Data Utility and Technology Adoption. I would like to call Puan Zuhara binti Zakri, Pengurus Kanan Pendidikan Yayasan Selangor, to come to the front to give the token of appreciation. And can we have Dr. Geeta Nadarajan of Sunway University and Dr. Eric Balan, CEO of Asia Tech Education, Sdn Bhd. I think we'll just go with Dr. Eric first. I don't know. Mungkin dah. Not sure. Maybe she went back.
Thank you so much. I will bring
All right.
my card right away.
Thank you very much, Dr. Eric. Thank you, Puan. So I hope the master classes just now was as beneficial to me and to this group here as it was to you in the other hall. If anyone would like to share what they learned, that would be great. You know, later on we also have tea break after the closing ceremony. That's when you can really share the lessons that we've learned together. And before we conclude today's event, there are a few things that we would like to do. First of all, we'd like to say thank you to all our sponsors, to our partners for making this summit a success. And with that, we'd like to welcome Dr. Leilani Mohammad Noor, Group CEO of Bina Pavo, K-Commerce Sdn Bhd, to deliver tokens of appreciation to all our sponsors and our partners who contributed in making this summit a success. Yes, akan pasang. Okay, Dr. Leilani requested songs. Yes, I think after our masterclass, you know about saying no and giving ourselves a moment to think. Okay, you'll have 30 seconds now to just be chill and not do anything. After a full day of, no, not to you, full day of information. I think it was so good today. All right, so we are so thankful to our sponsors, and with that, we'd like to invite Puan Yasmin Yusof, Generation 2 of Prima Alam Technologies Sdn Bhd, to receive a token from Dr. Leilani. Puan Yasmin. Can go on. So much. Okay, Puan Yasmin, you can take it down from there. Next, we would like to call Mr. Emilio Daniel, Generation 3 of Gamma Buana Sdn Bhd, to come to the front to receive token of appreciation. Okay, we see a trend now. So the next person, you're sure to be receiving kisses. Thank you so much, Mr. Emilio. And now we would like to invite our partners on stage to receive the certificate of appreciation. We have Mr. Joffrey Hussain from BG Capital Holdings Sdn Bhd. Next, Mr. Ahmad Daniel Ahmad Maliki from Brand Geeks Incorporated. Okay. Can we please have a more vibrant song? We need, for Miss Madida's word, we need vibers, right? Yes, we need some vibes. Okay, let's put some vibes. Can we also have Miss Madiha Fuad from Plus Vibes Malaysia? Thank you, Miss Madiha. Next, can we have Miss Kelly Wong from Alpine Advisory? Thank you, Miss Kelly. Next on the stage, I invite Puan Zahura binti Zakri from Yayasan Selangor. Thank you, Puan Zahura. And calling you to the stage, Miss Kavita Kaur, anak perempuan Jaswan Singh from FA Corporate Advisory Services, PLT. One of our masterclass teachers, Dr. Linda Salim from PT Daftaro Surya Gunadata. Thank you so much, Dr. Linda. Now we have another masterclass teacher, Dr. Eric Balan from Asia Tech Education, Sendirian Berhad. Thank you, Dr. Eric. And finally, we have Inche Ahmad Nazmi from Red Vest Wealth and Asset Management. Yes, left. Okay. So it's okay. So we actually have a few partners who have to leave a little bit early, but we would like to name them because they have really contributed to the success of this summit. We have Mr. Mohsin Glohiri from Mud Expo Globe, Mr. Muhammad Mehidi Hassan Sikdir from Lighthouse Business Consulting Limited, Bangladesh, Monica Nadadova Kroslakova from Family Business Center, University of Economics in Bratislava, Slovakia, and Mr. Hani El Charani from International Business and Economic Research Academy at Bera, Paris, and London. Thank you so much to all our supporting partners. Without you, this success would not have been as what we've experienced today. And now, to end the session, we would like to invite our knowledge partner, Professor Lim Wing Mak from Sunway University, to come in front to receive a token of appreciation. Thank you. Thank you so much, Mr. Lim. And the last person to go on stage who has truly made a difference today in the summit, and he has shared so much knowledge, invaluable knowledge with us. Do we know who he is? The first keynote speaker, Professor Pervez K. Ahmad from Sunway University. Thank you so much, Prof, and thank you, Dr. Leilani. And we're coming to almost the end of the session, and I'd like to call upon Dr. Leilani Mohammad Noor, Group CEO of Bina Pavo, K Commerce Syndrome Berhad, to give her closing remark. Dr. Leilani, please take it.
Okay, Assalamualaikum, and a very good evening. It's coming to an end. I'm a very emotional person. So whenever I talk, sometimes, my voice will, shake a little bit because of the amount of emotion that's going through not just my head, but certainly my heart. Okay, so, our time today together has been wonderful. And I'd like to thank, of course, all of you, for coming today to the second Asia Pacific Family Business Summit 2022. So for me personally, I find that this whole experience, doing this physically, as we call it, our first summit was done totally virtual. We invested in an event management platform last year. To get, it was equipped with the virtual booth, the networking tables, and whatnot. I think a lot of people had fun. About 200 over participants, who attended from Asia Pacific. But I must say, the stress level, the excitement, the faces that I see here today, nothing compared to last year, right? So with all the stress, but with all the, the wonderful faces that I see today, not just of the participants, the speakers, the sponsors, and certainly the team members here, I think it's very overwhelming for me, right? Okay, and I'm very happy for that. And I must say that despite the fact that we have all gone through, this 2-year pandemic phase, I'm so glad also that we are, out of it today. Certainly out of it today. Many have made many kinds of sacrifices. Many have fought, many has lost and struggled, and have so many kind of experiences. Today, together with Maddie, Dr. Linda as well, we spoke about, mental health, we talked about well-being. So the past 2 years, I think this topic is so important for us to really discuss among us. Something that we can't just say, I'm okay, right? And I think you're right, especially those who attended this masterclass at the ballroom today. We are so in tune to say, I'm okay, and maybe that's already something programmed in our brain already, right? To automatically say, okay, I'm okay, even though, you're not okay, right? So I hope that, after today's masterclass and after, today's Asia Pacific Family Business Summit, let's all try to really figure out what's going in our minds and in our heart, and I think that is so important. So, in the words of physicist and scientist pioneer Marie Curie, life is not easy for any of us. But what of that? We must have perseverance and, above all, confidence in ourselves. We must believe that we are gifted for something, that things that all the things that we must attain. Yeah, so we have to be confident despite the fact of the many challenges that we have. I'm sure everybody here has goals and aspirations for their family business that would proceed into generations to come. And I implore all next generation, especially those in the second generation, yeah, to hold on to that aspiration and that drive, yeah, and make sure that that drive stays inside you so that you can continue to carry on that baton, to take it on to the next generation, to be sustainable as per our theme today. Bina Pavo is fortunate to have all the supporting partners, sponsors, knowledge partners, and we've all come up to the stage earlier today, earlier on about 5-10 minutes ago. So I thank all of you, Sunway University, Sunway Institute for Global Strategy and Competitiveness, and certainly to all the other partners here, Yayasan Selangor Wasiat Shop, BG Capital, Lighthouse Business Consulting in Bangladesh, Plus Vibes, Brand Gigs, Asia Tech, Mart Globe Expo, Duff Taro, Red Vest, Alpine Advisory, FA Advisory, Family Business Center in Slovakia, as well as Ibera in Paris and London. So these are all our partners, and I know we couldn't have done it without all of you. So thank you so much. Survival is not a selfish endeavor. Survival is paramount. Through the years of hardship we faced due to the pandemic, and I think, in the past 1-2 years, we have this phrase, kita jaga kita. In English, it means we take care of each other. Yeah? And I think that phrase goes deeper than just saying kita jaga kita, or let's take care of each other. I think the very essence of a family is kita jaga kita, meaning, the family needs to take care of the family. Yeah? Not just as family within the family, but families who employees that has their own families, right? So family businesses taking care of other families. Let's embed that in our hearts. So I must say, I'm not going to make it too long. The theme this year is sustainability, the heart and bedrock of family business continuity in the turbulent global environment. Yeah, and I'm sure you all know that this is based on the 2030 agenda for the sustainable development adapted by United Nations. Yeah, and it started in 2015. Right, so I call on all family business as per how we want and aspire this summit to be. In the past 1 year, as we were curating and designing this summit and to have this theme, we were also talking to a lot of family businesses, in Malaysia, and I must say, together with Sunway University, especially, with the leadership of Professor Pervez, right? We had 3 roundtables, with family businesses from micro up to public listed, as how you saw in keynote 1. And even prior to having those family businesses come to Sunway for the roundtables, we hear a lot about family businesses not being aware of sustainability and the agenda of ESG, SDG. So I hope and I really call on family businesses, if you're already doing CSR project, if you're already bridging bridges, with partners, if you're already doing some kind of activities that helps to clean up a particular river and whatnot, look at it strategically. Look at it strategically, how it can not just impact the people, the community around you, but of course impacts your company, right? Link it to the SDGs. So I would like to also share that at Bina Pavo, we have linked our initiative, especially with our relationship and being a strategic partner to Yayasan Selangor or the Selangor Foundation, to work together with Yayasan Selangor with regards to their education fund, ensuring that with regards to SDG 4, we would help together with Yayasan Selangor with regards to the with regards to their education, for all, and certainly with SDG 17 is with regards to partnership, right? So for that, I am calling also again and again to family businesses, let's look at it strategically, in achieving your SDG. I want to now thank the Bina Pavo team, okay? Our Generation 3, Emilio Daniel. In fact, Aliza is actually a Generation 2 of a family business as well, and she comes on board with us to work, but she comes from a family business as well. She's a Generation 2. Aina is a Generation 3 as well, of a family business. Then of course, my partner in crime, certainly, Moha. He has always believed in me, despite on some days that I don't believe in myself. So I think without family, who are we, right? If we don't support each other, who are we, right? So thank you to all, especially the Bina Pavo team. Of course, I must thank the team, the event management team. And yesterday we came in at about 6 o'clock in the evening, and we didn't leave until about, I think, 2 o'clock in the morning, somewhat. So Afnan, Nana, Lily, Jaja, who's not here because she did, I think she was busy with me, doing the artwork, the final artwork for the backdrop. Tara, certainly, our wonderful master, or rather Madam Ceremony of today. Mahmoud, I've known him for so long. I think, 12 years? Somewhat, love working with him, takes the best pictures. I tell you, your pictures are going to be beautiful on our social media, with the help of Mahmoud. Amir, thank you so much for being so patient with me, especially with the videos. Thank you so much. Wan Muhammad, and certainly our lovely Asheret, Natasha. Right? So I hope I've not missed anybody, right? And if I have, I apologize. But thank you to the entire event management team. Thank you. Then I see Sabri, back there. Oh, thank you. The videos, there is going to be, the whole day being live streamed and so on. Thank you so much, Sorry, I didn't see you over there. And I want to acknowledge them because Bina Pavo, it's a small entity, especially the one that is doing the family business advisory bit, We are boutique, we are small, but I think we have big dreams. I think despite the fact that we are only 5 that is handling the advisory part of for family businesses, I think because we are passionate of what we do, and we want to advocate and make sure that, especially in Malaysia, more understanding of how important it is for family businesses to move on from one generation to the other, that we continue to do all this work, all this leg work, and we hope that we will have more family businesses, joining us next year for the Asia Pacific Family Business Summit. I've just had some conversation with some partners, yeah, and we hope that next year, if not the year after, we can bring it to either Indonesia, yeah. I've had also discussion with our partner in Bangladesh through Lighthouse Business Consulting Limited, that we have plans also to bring the summit to Bangladesh. Because we've had it done here twice, it's time to plan and do it outside to carry on the true meaning of Asia Pacific, right? Rather than just have Asia Pacific participants joining us either as speakers or certainly the participants online. So with that, I would like to officially close the second Asia Pacific Family Business Summit 2022. I thank all of you for coming here today. I hope you enjoyed the food. Thank you, Paul, for coming all the way, over here, together with his lovely wife. Yes, thank you so much for coming over to Malaysia and enjoying all the food over here. Yeah, and certainly Linda also came all the way from Indonesia. Yeah, so thank you for that commitment and that support to us. Thank you. So, till we meet again for the third Asia Pacific Family Business Summit, I thank you. Drive safe, take care, and remember to take care of the people closest to you, especially, with regards to emotions, yeah, and with regards to how they're feeling. Ask them, how they're doing, and don't just take "I'm okay" as an answer. All right, so thank you so much, and give all of us a big round of applause. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Leilani Mohammad Noor. And with that, we've come to the end of the second Asia Pacific Family Business Summit 2022. I find that, she gave out so many tokens of appreciation, and we've been giving everyone token of appreciation, but Dr. Leilani hasn't got one. So I present to you Dr. Moha. That is your token. And everyone present here, the participant, thank you so much. Without you, this summit would not have been a success. And please feel free to mingle, get to know each other, talk to our masterclass teachers, talk to our keynote speakers, and there are food available for tea time still. As per Malaysian culture, we eat 5 to 6 times a day. So thank you everyone, and I hope to see you next year. Thank you.
Excuse me, Maria. Could I question something? Very, okay. Okay. You did not any introduction. After you got your card code, I have my